Hey, good afternoon or morning, whenever you're watching this video. We're going to talk about the area of trapezoids and kites right now. You'll notice that on mine, I've already highlighted it by filling in the two words you're going to need to write in. One way to find the area of other quadrilaterals is to break them up into triangles and rectangles because we know those formulas and that's what we're going to apply. So take a look at this four-sided shape, this quadrilateral that we call a trapezoid because two of the bases, in this case the top and the bottom, are parallel to each other. And if I draw a line straight down and I draw a line straight down, what I'm going to get poorly drawn is a triangle, a rectangle, and a triangle. So let's find the area of them. We know that the area of a triangle is base, well, that's 2, times height. Well, this is 7. Base times height divided by 2. So we would do 2 times 7 divided by 2. And so we know that this triangle here has an area of 7 square units. Now in the middle, we've got a rectangle. So this one's a 7 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 by 5. Well, the area of a rectangle is just base times height. And so we know the area of this section is going to be 35 units squared. So we've got a triangle so far, a rectangle, and now we're going to have one last triangle. Again, the height is 7. That hasn't changed. But this time we've got a base of 4. So the area of a triangle is base times height divided by 2. So 7 times 4 divided by 2. Well, that means we've got 28 chopped in half. Oh, this one's going to be 14 units squared. So the area of the entire shape is just adding those pieces up together. Now, this is not the only way to break this up, but for most people, it's a pretty easy way to do it. 35 plus 14 plus 7 is going to be 56 units squared. And we've proved that by breaking the shape up. This doesn't mean we couldn't have found area by subtraction for those who've done that. It doesn't mean we couldn't have broken this up in other ways from corner to end and made, for example, two triangles. We can do that. But this is a pretty straightforward method. Now, we also have other shapes that we've been looking at, and these two are two examples of kites. Now, kites are wonderful because they allow us to find their area in multiple ways. I'm hoping that you can see that if I draw a line down this middle and I draw a line from, again, point to point, these point to points, these internal are called diagonals. So that green diagonal, if that was going to be my focus, would split this shape up into a triangle on top with a height of 3 and a triangle on the bottom with a height of 7. So I would have, oh, and this is 10 units long. So I would have 10 times 3 divided by 2 equals the area of that top triangle. So I'm picturing this section up here, this whole thing. And that would have an area of 30 divided by 2, 15. The bottom section, because this was 3 units tall, and this is 7 units tall, is going to be 10, because that's my base going across. 10 is this whole stretch, times 7, divided by 2, because it's still a triangle. And 70 divided by 2 is the 35. And then I would add these two units up, and I'd say, oh, wow, I get 50 units squared. But I could have, again, looked at it, same two lines, but looked at it differently. This time I'm going to focus on using this as my divisor. And if you notice, that means that this side is a 10 by 5, and so is this one. It's also a 10 by 5. So here's the math I would do. I would say 10 times 5 divided by 2 for the triangle on the left. but the triangle on the right is exactly the same. So I would, in essence, multiply it by 2. So, so look at that. That means the divide by 2 and the times 2 really cancel each other out. So this is going to be 10 times 5, 50, divided by 2, 25, times 2 again, we're back to 50, which again makes sense because that is the total area we should find no matter what method we use. But it also gives us a hint, an insight into the best way to find the area of these shapes, which is this. If I look at the diagonal, top to bottom, and across in any kite, you're going to see that you have a 10 times a 10. You take those two diagonals and you just divide that in half. And that will always give you the total area. So we've actually shown 3 ways to figure out that this has an area of 50 units squared. So the key, though, is when you see quadrilaterals, think about breaking them up into triangles or rectangles. Good luck.